Are you building in Ghana? You can't find trustworthy people to build it for you? Tilly Honest Pro Artisans will build it for you. Are you looking for masons, carpenters, tilers, plumbers, walk-in closet builders, kitchen cabinet, CCTV, civil engineers, architects? Look no further. Tilly Honest Pro will build your dream house for you.
Good morning. You teach your Bibia, Yaminko Bibia from Nketwaso, Kusi Akesiaso, Yamincho Bibia. We are tropical cables made in Ghana. Tropical cables. We know who you are, my brother, my sister. And yeah, there was an aquatic cable for where a fire resistance. Into being friend fireproof. A fire resistance. Nature says in case simple say electrical fault, na say di eja na so bibi mu na nka hye ofia acquire fire resistance intino as our socket and our gadgets be crampo anya ade ebetumi asoja mpo ahye no. Nature say you stay safe. We know ya tete so otas ye promotion so.
Today we are going to talk to a very energetic sister. Very, very, very energetic. I really love this sister. And I think we are going to listen to her experience. And I think it's going to change us. And she did a brave thing that most of us, including me, couldn't do. Let's listen to our sister's story. Sister, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Hanging in there. So, first of all, I'll let you introduce yourself, then we will go from there.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Befi, for inviting me to your show. I'm so happy and privileged to be here. My name is Equia Apia or Equia Setra. I'm a Ghanaian who used to live in Canada and recently relocated back to Ghana with my family. So I think that's the gist of, we lived in Canada. I lived in Canada for, many, many years, over 20 years. And now we're relearning to make our lives here in Ghana. And we're very excited to be here.
Shamo, over 20 years. So let me start by saying this. Were you born in Canada or you moved to Ghana from Ghana, right? So
yes.
Ghana, what happened where you went to school and all that? Can you give us a little brief about that?
Sure. I was born in Ghana. I was born in my hometown in Bianquanta. It's in the Ahafo region. I schooled in Bianquanta until I think I was about 9 years old. And then I moved to Kumasi where I schooled again until the JSS 3 first term. And then I moved to the States at first. I moved to New York City and then finished high school there. And then I came to Canada to start university and I stayed on after that.
Oh, okay. So let's say, very, very early ages, that's when you moved to the States. So, there was not a lot going on in Ghana at that time. They're primarily dependent on somebody. So there was.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. And I think New York too, there's not a lot history about New York, right? You were studying.
In terms of me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, because I lived, a lot of the years that I was in, the West was in Canada. So I think it's easier for me to say that part. But I had a significant part because my whole high school was in New York City. From ninth grade up until graduation was in New York City. So it is actually a significant part of my life. But it's just because I think it's been a while. So I don't talk about it as much. But it's a huge part of my journey.
What moved you to Canada?
School. My dad used to live in Canada. And so when I finished high school, we were just trying to figure out where I'm going to go to university. And it was just cheaper. I could get a student loan to basically foot my entire bill. And then my dad was able to find a family friend for me to live with. So basically school was covered. It was a student loan, don't get me wrong, but it was still covered. So that's primarily why I came in. I didn't want to come to Canada. I remember just...
But it looks as if you stayed, so that means
I did stay. I was young, I remember telling my dad, "Oh man, you're abandoning me. Why are you shipping
high
me
schoolers."
But it ended up being a great experience. I stayed, and the rest is history. Yeah, I never went back to the States after that.
So let's say now we're going to start everything from Canada. So now, back in school in Canada, starting school, can you tell us what really happened in Canada all the way to maybe, I'm going to interrupt you a little bit, but all the way to the brief thing you just did?
Sure. Like I said, I came to university in Canada. So basically from 4 years of university, I schooled in Canada. I went to York Universities in Toronto. And primarily that's where I stayed too. So I majored in criminology. I went on to work as a parole officer, I think a year or so, but that was my career path anyway. And so when I finished school, I was able to land a job with the government. I stayed there for about 18 years. And literally that was the job I left and came to Canada with. So that was it. 4 years of university, 18 years of federal government job. I have a family. I have 3 kids and my husband as well. So we all lived in Canada before we relocated back to Canada.
So life was very good. Everything, financially, everything was very, very good.
I think anyone looking from the outside in will make that conclusion. They're going to say, she has a good job. Her husband, also my husband worked in IT as well. So her husband has a good job. They have a home. I think on the outside, finances really wasn't a major issue for us. I wouldn't say that. Like we didn't really struggle financially at all. So it wasn't an issue for us. I think the main thing is if you go back to your intro, what you were saying about constantly learning, and I think in the course of our conversation, I hope we'll get to the point where we can discuss where, if the only what do you call it? If the only factor in a decision is money, you're going to reach a point where you realize that money is not enough.
Not enough. You said it. Yeah. So what, like I was saying, what it is we're in a situation where we have to unlearn, relearn. So at what point, let's say what actually made you decide to, go back home?
Wow.
It's been time for a while.
Yes. That's a huge question. I think I am somebody who in my heart, Africa never left my heart. I was always blindly searching for something more that was Black. I remember when we were in school, I was part of the student body, like student government. And we had a Ghanaian Students Association. And that was that's what made university fun for me. The fact that we could go to an office, talk about anything Ghana, cook Ghana, wear kente sometimes and do shows. So somehow, somewhere in my heart, I think Africa was always there. But, I would say the West is a force. I think that's the best way I can describe it. If you're in Africa and you've never traveled to the West, you may not understand what I'm saying. But if you live there, you may relate. It is a force that it can almost engulf you, you know, where I remember one of the most profound things I saw when I was living in America was, you know, in America, you have to assimilate.
Is it like a trap?
There's one
Can you say a
identity,
trap?
and that's American.
Can you say it's like a trap? The West is like a trap?
It's like a force, meaning like you can't, you know, like when we're going to the West, we're going as, you know, proud Africans or proud whomever. But when we get there, there's a bigger force that we never knew. There's a force that's working to keep us in a particular state there. So your Africanness is not welcome there. And you can't know this until you go there. So to have a love for Africa, you, like you were saying so clearly in the beginning, you have to be somebody who is constantly searching for information about Africa, because the media, the movies, the TV shows, the schools, there's Africa, there's no Africa anywhere. That's what I mean. It's like a force, you know, it pulls you into them.
And even where there's,
yes, I think
even where there's Africa, it's negative, right?
It's
where
always negative.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's intended to make us come and forget where we came from. So the moment you come to America, your values, you're supposed to idealize America. When you're in Canada, everything Canadian is what is, you know, prized. So eventually you kind of let go of Africa, unless you're constantly searching for information. So even though I loved Africa, I had to, it was a real push for me to, that's why it's taking me almost 27, 28 years to really return, even though I loved Africa, because you don't, it's almost like you are doing this work by yourself. Nobody's talking about anything good in Africa. So you have to push and go find something that's positive about Africa. I remember in 2020 during the lockdown, Wadamaya was one of the best things that happened, I think, during the lockdown. He was going everywhere talking about positive things in Africa. And I don't know if anybody was doing that at the time. Maybe they were. I'm sure Mr. Obin's shows were there, but we didn't know, it wasn't as popular.
Oh, sister line. Okay. That's it. You went off a little bit. Forgive us, guys. Oh, if you can hear me, we can't hear you. So I don't know if you will go out and come back in. Wow. Let me see if I can put her back in. Forgive me, guys. I think she's coming back. Ooh. Okay, so like I was saying, paradigm paradigm is something that we really need to work on. We cannot just wait. Like I said, there are some people that they have to wait for it to happen, something to happen, event to happen to them. Oh, hold on, I think he's coming. Okay. Oh, okay.
It went out. It just went out.
The forces are getting on to you.
Sorry about that.
Okay. No
I'm
problem.
telling you.
So, as you were saying, you said it was a force that even though you needed, you said, okay, what Maya?
Yeah. So I think I remember in 2020, remember, I'm always searching somehow, but the force is greater than you, right? It pulls you in, and it's meant for you to forget Africa. That's just how I will, describe it. And that's why a lot of times we go there with the intention of, I'm going to look for a little bit of money, a little bit of this, and we end up staying for 20, 30, 40 years because it's a force. So when you have these glimpses of hope, like, what am I at talking about positive things in Africa? I remember we used to just, any show he, puts on YouTube, we would just like eat it up because we're like, wow, somebody's actually having the guts to do this, and then I remember the first book I read, which was Conscious Opening. I'll probably say the autobiography of Malcolm X. And following from that, I started reading Nkrumah. I remember reading Nkrumah years ago. I never knew he wrote so much. I would recommend all Africans to go look for his books. And he was talking about neo-colonialism back when, in the 60s, when nobody even understood, I think, what he was talking about. So things like this started to wake me up a little bit. And to say, wait, I don't have to forget about Africa totally, because living here, I'm not really free. So if there's a way for me to even consider Africa, why wouldn't I? And even at that point, I still didn't have the boldness. The reason
so when did that happen? When did the shift? When did the shift happen?
Exactly. So imagine I'm exposing myself to this information gradually over years. Right? Every time I get a chance to read something related to, Blackness, I kind of gravitate towards that. So in 2023, I was driving to work. I had an hour and a half to 2 hour drive to work. And I would normally listen to audiobooks and stuff. And then YouTube and things like that. And so I stumbled upon DJ Nyami's interview with Mr. Obendako. Even though I didn't really expect it to be anything, I clicked on it. And frankly speaking, everything came together in that moment. I was ready to hear what Mr. Obin was talking about at that time because by then I had children. I was feeling a little bit, protective of my kids, especially knowing what I know about African history, the West, all the the troubles that we've had and things like that. So when I heard Mr. Obendako's message on DJ Nyami about how we don't have to, forget Africa and then you can make it in Africa, I was hooked. I was hooked. I started just going for all his materials, going for his books. I told my husband about him. He started following him as well. And I would say everything culminated to that moment. And Mr. Obedako single-handedly, it wasn't just him, but I think he made the most powerful impact because he was Ghanaian. He was talking about live events in Ghana. This was not necessarily historical. So it was powerful. And when we got that information, literally from that time to when we came was 1 year. We were ready to just pack our things, plan, and then come back home.
Wow.
Because at that point, I think the information, it cemented our belief or our wish to believe in the positivity of Africa.
So it's not like when you started doing it, you started going back and forth trying to, you just pack the stuff and boom. So now let's look at it this way. You're there, then all of a sudden you decided to go. What happened? Family.
Yeah,
right?
we didn't.
But before then, let me ask you a question. Are you a Manfua?
No, I'm Sechera.
No. I say Manfua because of the scarf you have on.
Oh, no.
The husband didn't go to Prempeh, right?
No, he didn't go to Prempeh.
Okay, all right.
Oh, okay. You see, I'm so out of touch with Ghana. I don't even understand what you meant.
Okay. So what happened? Families. You just want to go. You know how you try and go. People will be. I remember I was talking to Yao. Yao was in England. Wanted to come back.
Yes, I know Yao.
The family was, don't even try. Don't even try coming. I know at this point, you've been here a while and all that, so you can just get up and go. But people will still say something to you. So what happened?
Yes, I think the idea or the move to decide I'm going to leave anybody who does this is somebody who's mentally and emotionally strong. You're not going to do something like moving back to Africa from the States if you're not mentally strong, meaning you believe in something. So the naysayers can talk, they can have their way. I don't think maybe aside from my father, he's still scared, somewhat, but he understands it. He sees it. He just doesn't, he knows maybe, I don't have the boldness. I remember one time he was telling my husband and I that, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give my blessing to you guys in a way reluctantly. Maybe what I wasn't able to do in Ghana, you guys can do it. So there's this apprehension, there's this fear. Not that we don't think it can be done. It's just there's a lot of fear because, like I said, the force is really great. It's greater than us. If we understood the things that are working to keep us in a particular position, both in abroad and also back here, I think we'll work harder to sort of learn harder and fight harder to reclaim Africa. So there was no support necessarily for us. Nobody was rooting for us to come to Ghana, but we had so much information and so much confidence, about coming back home that we didn't necessarily need a ton of people to support us.
Yeah, they didn't have a vote,
and we didn't have to do the back and forth because we knew this is what we want to stay.
Mm-hmm. So
and
none of your friends even told you anything. Like none of your friends were like, "Why are you going?" Nobody said that.
Nobody supported us. Like, No,
I'm saying they said, "Why are you going? Why can't you?" No, nobody said that.
Of course they did.
Okay.
Even up to now, my mom thinks it's a joke. She thinks, give them some time. They're gonna go back. My friends were literally scared for me.
Okay.
They were scared for me.
Okay. Yeah. Did they say anything? Did they?
I had a friend beg me, literally the words she used was, "Akuya, please, I beg you, don't throw your life away."
Throw your life away?
Yes. They
going back to where you were born?
Pardon?
Going back to where you were born?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. You're throwing your life away because there's nothing good in Africa, remember?
Yes. So now so you decided to go. So did you have business? Do you have anything set up already before you moved or?
So I would say we used about 6 months to plan our move.
And just 6 months?
6 months, yes.
Wow.
So when we decided we want to come, the first thing we did was my husband came down. We had a house we were building. It wasn't completed. So he came and he decided to change the plan, make it a simple building where he can fully complete it so that we can come and stay. So he came here he stayed for 2 months, and he was able to complete the building. And then when he came back, we used another, I think, about 3 to 4 months to fully plan, the travel. We knew, we put on paper what we wanted to do in terms of business. So when we came down, we were free to come down and explore. Now that we have a place to lay our head. So we used another 3 to 4 months, I think about 4 months after he came back, selling our house, kind of rejigging like the job situation and things like that. I can't just leave right away. And, I need time to give them notice. We had to plan the travel. Like I think we had like 16 luggages or something, or 20,
Yeah.
like it was ridiculous.
Usually
things for the
people
kids.
do that. They start doing their trip like maybe 2-3 years, going back and forth, trying to put things. But you just,
I know we were ready. We were ready. Like my husband, one of the things that cemented this for us was, a lot of people go to the West. They said because of their children, right? They want a better education for their children and all that. We wanted to come home because of our children as well. We wanted to establish something. People always talk about generational wealth and how, Africans, we don't leave any generational wealth for our kids. Well, one of the goals we have being here on the continent is to break that cycle. How can we build something right now that our children can inherit? I remember when I finished university, one of the worst experience I had was writing resumes. Like, writing exams, these government jobs, you have to go write exams and things like that. It was brutal going for interviews, and things like that. Well, why should I go through that and have my children go through the same thing? If we can build something here and sustain it and have them inherit it, isn't that better than them going to beg for a job? Like every generation, everybody's begging for work. Really? We need to stop that trend. So that was like it's everything. It was spiritual. It was everything. We had a goal. It was bigger than us. And we were ready to kind of take on that mantle and go for it, and that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to build a business. So it's sort of businesses, let me put it that way, we're putting everything in it. And the biggest drive is that our children will not need to go beg for jobs somewhere. Okay. They can inherit this and build from there.